Hey everybody. So I'm a bit late to the party, but Namco's been ramping up their coverage of Tekken 8 and everyone's done a video take of the latest trailers at this point. But I still think there's some stuff to say, so here's one of mine. Now it seems I've been vindicated as we're not looking like seeing the game after all until next year at least. But hey, nobody watched that video, so whatever. I have to admit I was one of those people who thought the reveal trailer was great, but the second one extremely underwhelming and obviously a very work in progress build of the game in terms of the presentation, and a very concerning discourse from the developer in terms of buzzwords like aggression and heat, which made a lot of people nervous, as many players I think rightly see Tekken as being too offense orientated with how 50-50 based a lot of the gameplay has become, and the developer's constant nerfing of movement over iterations of the franchise. I even got banned from avoiding the Puddles chat for making bad jokes about sidestep being removed from the game, and block as well, considering the inclusion of chip damage we now have. Well, as one of the original supporters of the guy, even got the one-on-one conversations through email between Eris and myself to prove it, I actually just found it hilarious, and I guess it had to happen sometime, right? Except no dust was to be settled. In a rapid-fire succession, we had a 35-minute gameplay presentation by Harada come out soon after, along with the Ninawilliams trailer seen here, and this seemed to compound the uneasy stirrings from the internet regarding all the new mechanics based around offense and a double down on accessibility options from Tekken 7 that I feel didn't really work in that game, and don't know anyone that didn't look at it there for 5 minutes and decide it was garbage and then go back to the default control scheme. So here's Nina in a radically different design, and she's finally starting to age, it seems, after a decades-long stint in the cryo chamber. I have to say this actually made me doubly concerned, as I'm not a huge fan of this 60s era spy-like design, and I do prefer her traditional look. There just seems a little too much Mortal Kombat, almost Cassie Cage-like feeling to her gameplay, and guns in the middle of a match just seems a bit much as a normal move. But hey, this is the more flashy direction the game has been going in for some time, and it's been a successful one, so it's fine, I guess. The footage there does seem like it's unfinished in terms of the quality of the lighting and such, so I wasn't too concerned about it. Otherwise, it's interesting they announced Nina so early, as she was a very late addition to the Tekken 7 roster in the arcades, and I haven't been a Nina player for a long time, so I won't break down her moves of the gameplay here. But then, with no rhyme or reason in the dead of night, Namco dropped this, and it seems to me feelings about the game did a 180 immediately. And I have to admit, as a long-time Kazuya player, my own included. So I'll just let this play through, and then jump into a bit of a deep dive commentary into what we're seeing here. And just as a side, if you look in the background of this stage, you will find some rather interesting Easter eggs, including billboards and a statue of one Leroy Smith. The Demon Slayer backfist combo now looks to have a cancel similar to what Heihachi can do in Tekken 7, but into the sidestep shattered spine sidekick, giving new mix-up potential. And of note here, the kick is no longer a launcher and gets a stun similar to the new tactic state reanimated Hell Sweep with a new extension, which is actually Heihachi's up forward 4 Wind Slicer. I hope you can still do this normally, and the unanswered question if the traditional extensions still exist. And yes, 2017's Tekken is still 3D. Sidesteps confirmed. And here we have a new move, which looks like a sidestep 1 with a very Death Fist feeling to the proceedings. The iconic Electric Wind God Fist can now be comboed into the Thunder God Fist Dragon Punch, which gives what seems to be a new combo state. A welcome change, since this move outside the Rage Drive has been pretty useless for a long time now, giving new combo routes into a new back 2-1 and I want to say 1+2 laser extension. Demon God Fist Wall Rising 2 into what seems to be a standing state Devil Twin Pistons uppercut, which actually splats high on the wall. Crazy stuff. Into a new world combo, which actually looks like 4-3-1-2. Yet to be seen if this replaces the Demon's Wrath or Rage of Terror strings, or it's just a new string entirely. Abolishing Fist into Devil form, which I assume his heat system activation mechanics are based upon now that the Rage Drive mechanic is gone, into a somewhat odd choice of the Lion Slayer down back +2 after the heat burst, which causes the returning bound combo state from Tekken 6 and a crazy new string, which appears to be Agony Spear into Hell Lancer with a laser extension. Devil Forward 2 Heat Engager, which looks much faster to become active, into a Heat Dash Hell Sweep 4-hit combo with heavy Demo Man vibes. This is insane, but I'd also assume this is the Heat Smash attack. And here what we see appears to be the back 1+2 Kumokiri with a new Tactics-esque hit state into Heat Dash and then a Devil transformation, which most people think is new, but he's actually does have this as a Power Crush in Tekken 7 When in Rage, which not many people seem to use. It appears to have similar properties here. The return of the older but better animated down forward 1-2 Slaughter Hook, which looks to be activated with heat into a bound impaling knee twin thrust combo down forward 3-2-1, which now gives a tailspin enabling the Heaven's Gate extension, a move we see has received a new and much needed reanimation, where the opponent is now hurled at the ground and finished with a Lion Slayer chop from the heavens. Awesome stuff and long overdue. And last but not least, the new Rage art. The classic Abolishing Fist in slow motion Devil Fist, a Kazumi-esque rising laser into what looks like a stolen Dragonov Air 1+2, and a brutal axe kick from the skies which obliterates poor Jin here. This is easily the best one we've seen yet. And a little detail everyone seems to have missed appears to be a callback from the Bloodline Vengeance animated film here. I love it when callbacks like this are done. Overall, the trailer seems to have silenced or mitigated mine and many others' concerns, as it seems to be the most polished and best look at the game we've seen so far. And of course, just as I'm about to upload this video, Namco bless us with a Jin trailer, don't they? So commentary on that will actually be limited in this video, and I might just leave that to more qualified people since I'm not a Jin player. But it was actually a good opportunity to get a little bit more footage of some of Kazuya's returning moves, which I've edited in here. And also on the Jin front, it looks like, I could be wrong, but are we going to see a merge of Devil Jin and Jin into one character? Because it looks like he has some very Devil Jin-esque moves with all the aerial stuff. Very intriguing. The developers have mentioned in the past they tend to start with Kazuya, so he's probably seen the most work at this point, and I think it shows in the trailer. It makes me wonder if the heat system in general came about because they were trying to work out what to do with Kazuya's devil form once the decision was made not to bring Rage Drive back, at least how it stands in Tekken 7. The character himself is the definition of a legacy Tekken character, and is probably one in most need of a rework in terms of animation, especially in light of some of those older animations that have been with us basically since Tekken 1, if we're to be honest. And the quality of the animation and what looks to be an update to the frame data and such looks great and well needed and well overdue. I love how they appear to have injected some of Heihachi's tech, if not moves, into his arsenal. But I do have a lot of questions. Will we finally get a less clunky poke? Can you do the up forward 4 as a standalone move? And if so, due to the command overlap, would this mean everyone's favorite move among all new Kazuya enjoyers, the rising sun kicks from Tekken 1, are gone? On the same note, the new Hell Sweep looks great. Does this mean the traditional 4-4 option is gone? The Wind Slicer must be a high surely. So how about the iconic hook mid extension? We did see this done in the original reveal footage, but it wouldn't be the first time Namco put moves that are story mode only. They did this in Tekken 7's story mode rather extensively. He does what looks to be a standing Devil Twin Pistons with no visible signs of an instant while standing cancel while standing 2. If this is true, I wonder what changes they have made to the execution of the character in general since down forward 1-2 is back, for example. I still feel I may be reviewing all the developer commentary about the new systems, and we'll probably put something up covering that, but it was just such a lot to digest, and I wanted things to sink in a little bit and maybe see a bit more of the game first. But in the meantime, if anyone got through this, sound off in the comments. What are you guys feeling about the game so far? After this trailer, I'm feeling a lot better about it in general, although I'm still nervous. I'm one of those dinosaurs who miss the older, more defensive style of the game where sidestepping and movement were very strong, and I still really want to see a return to that. I'm not one of these people crying about Zafina's movement in Tekken 7, for example, and I actually feel all the characters should have her movement in Tekken 8, and all this talk of chip damage and an emphasis on aggressive gameplay seemed originally exactly the opposite of what the core Tekken audience want. And let us not forget, this is the first Tekken game that will not have an extensive arcade beta testing, and I'm very nervous we could have a new Tekken 4 on our hands. And even though I did love that game, it was horribly broken at release and never got fixed. But in the new age of online games, and thankfully the console makers' decision to walk back their draconian measures about charging for developers to patch their games, it's becoming less of an issue, I guess, but of course that brings its own problems. So I'm tentatively excited. Very interested to know what you guys are thinking anyway, and thumbs up if you're a Chad Tekken God Omega Lord, and thumbs down if you're a Lily Feet enjoyer.